Bro, have you ever wondered what it's like to be in a Civil War camp?
No, I really don't care.
Oh my god, yes, I've always wondered that.
Maybe you guys should just time travel.
You're a genius!
Are you guys serious right now?
Does it look like I'm joking?
Really, but stop being a hater.
This is never going to work.
Yes, it is. You just need to believe in us.
Okay, it's time to go. I just need to switch the time to 1863.
Make sure you bring me back some camp cookies. Oh my gosh, what the freak?
That hurt. Oh my god, Liv, look. Oh my god, let's look around. Okay, but we have to be careful and stick together. Oh my god, these poor people. What did I just trip on? Oh my god, Liv, don't be rude. That's someone's house.
I don't know
My bad. We should probably get going.
Yeah, you're right.
Halt! Who are you?
We were just going.
Yeah, we're just visiting.
Spies!
No, I promise you, we're not spies.
Off with their heads!
Liv, if we die, thank you for coming here with me.
Of course, honey.
3, 2. I thought you guys would never come back and I'd have to jump in to get you guys.
Me too. What are the odds with the timing?
Huh?
Long story, we'll explain it later. Let's start with the interview.
I need to grab a drink first.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we'll be talking about Civil War prison camps.
Okay, so before we start, this podcast is brought to you by the Civil War Prison Camp Foundation. This foundation goes to schools and some workplaces all over America to teach people about the injustices in the Civil War prison camp and what the people had to go through. Please go to the Civil War Prison Camp Foundation website to learn more, and so that they can continue to teach people every day about what was going on in these camps.
Please donate to this foundation to help support our charity. But to start, we need to give some context on the time period and the things that were going on away from the prison camps. As the Civil War continued to get more serious, both the Union and the Confederate armies had a huge number of captured soldiers from the opposite army. Obviously, they needed somewhere to put the captured soldiers. So they created these camps, which basically, if they're captured, they go there, they serve labor, yada, 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 whatever. So the camps range from being well-constructed with, like, good labor laws to bad constructed with terrible living conditions, terrible work conditions, and poor health. Some were patrolled by armed guards and even house guards, which means if they tried to leave, they would be killed, and basically there really was no way around it.
Oh my gee, guys. What did you guys see when you went there? I'm so intrigued. Tell me more. What is the most known prison camp and what took place?
So, probably the most known camp is Camp Sumter or Anderson Prison. This is definitely the largest camp. A lot of people would think that all the camps were in different places, but really they were pretty close together, almost like they were just compounded into about 150 camps, like all in one strip, which was crazy. When I saw that, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Wow.
It had 45,000 different people, like different soldiers at a time. And you would just see them like lined up. So many people.
Wow.
By far, the highest death rate was 13,000 though. Like there was a sign counting every time.
Yeah.
Was that upsetting to see?
Yeah.
Very?
Liv even tripped over a house
Yes.
on the ground because they live on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Their houses are like underground.
Yes.
The conditions were very bad. It was a lot of overcrowding, which was why the death toll was so high. At some point, I think there was like 32,000 Union soldiers there at one time. I don't know. There was really strict rules there too that I overheard. There was roll call, I think twice a day. And they were divided into like different rows of 100 men each. And each had to elect a sergeant, yeah. Prisoners are allied to write to a loved one, like they're allowed to write to their loved ones at least twice a week, yeah. They're allowed to write twice a week, but to avoid stealing, they got so little rations of like food, water, like all the necessities, that no one really stole anything because no one had anything. They're also allowed to elect an officer to make sure things that like ran smoothly at the camp within everything, and the Confederate officer was named Captain Richard Winder. He was assigned to Anderville to provide shelter for the prisoners. The prisoners, they lived in small tents, which there's an ad coming soon. Or they lived in huts and underground. They documented in their diaries. We saw some of their diaries about the shelters. Yeah.
Wow, Francesca.
Yeah.
Wow, Liv. That is so interesting.
So, Liv, why don't you take over?
I want to hear you.
Well, one of the
Wow, this is insane. Liv, how were these houses even made?
well, their houses were tents that were made by attaching 2 blankets to a ridgepole, so they kind of looked like teepees just with blankets over them. And they also made houses by like digging holes in the ground, and they dug sideways so it would turn into like a cave almost.
That's like what she tripped over.
Yes, I tripped in a hole in the ground. And there's also structures made with like bricks and mud, and then they just put like blankets over them. And they were made with like pine boards and stuff like that.
Wow, guys, I wish I really went with you. Okay, so why did so many people die?
Well, the deaths at the camp really ranged, but a lot of people had infections, like diseases that spread. And since there were so many people, it spread really quickly that made people die faster.
Mm-hmm.
There was this one, I can't really pronounce it. It's diphtheria, I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying.
Yeah. that was
Smallpox, other stuff like that. And those two even together just caused 3,800 people to die. Other causes of death were like inflamed body tissue, fluid in tissue, cavities, inflamed intestines, and just like a lot of diseases on the skin and swelling. All that ranged about 4,100 deaths, and all the other things that weren't really mentioned were probably due to like neglect and how they were treated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably it.
So, one thing I heard about is that you guys went to Camp Chase.
Mm.
What was it like there?
So on the Confederate side, was the largest prison camp, which was Andersonville, which we already talked about. But on the Union side, the largest camp was Camp Chase. So the camp opened in 1861, it was used as a training camp for Union soldiers, but it was converted to a prison camp where about 25,000 prisoners were passed through, and 9,400 was the highest number there once, and over 2,000 people were killed at this camp.
Wow. Yeah. That's very upsetting to hear about.
I know, it's crazy. Crazy.
Well, did you guys go to any other ones?
We actually did go to one more. It was called Camp Douglas. So, Camp Douglas was known as the Andersonville of the North, basically. like Camp Chase, it started off as a training facility for the Union soldiers, and 18,000 soldiers passed through at different points. It was inspected, and the inspectors said that the conditions were terrible, and it looked terrible. Like,
Yeah.
all these poor people, I felt so bad. They said that the barracks were filthy, like the living conditions were filthy. The only thing that could clean them would be fire, like literal fire.
Yeah, it was bad.
And there was mad fire when we were there. There was super small rations of like food, and the stuff that they would get was bad quality. Like if they got food, it was moldy, like not good. And a lot of the small rations caused the diseases and illnesses and starvation because people like literally couldn't eat it, which this resulted in a lot of deaths that happened there. 4,200 people actually died there by 1865, and that's literally 1 in 7 people. Like it was really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It was awful.
That's upsetting.
It was.
So, what was your overall experience?
You go first.
So we went to 3 camps. We saw Andersonville, Camp Chase, and Camp Douglas, and those were the worst camps that we heard about and like the worst ones we saw. But people that went to other camps had similar experiences, and they were almost equally as bad, but there's just not as many people at the camps. Yeah, that was just, yeah.
Also, like, we almost did die a little bit. Timing was really on our side because, you know, me and Liv actually got stuck in a head trap to get our heads cut off.
Yeah,
It was crazy. It was really bad.
we could have died, and if one more second, we would have
Like,
died.
it was down to the last second. We would have never seen you again.
No, girls, no.
That's why I said it was a bad idea. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening.
That was a bad idea.
I know.
Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe.
Thanks for having me.
Catch you guys on the flip.